why don't you guys go ahead and start your innovation project presentation for us?
Okay, so for our project, we focused on the transportation of hazardous materials. So when a hazardous materials truck crashes, the protocol is the first responders will arrive on the scene with the emergency response guidebook, and they will look with binoculars to discern a placard on the side of the truck which has a 4-digit code, and that will tell them the chemical and what to do.
This method is extremely ineffective because there could be debris or fog or smoke or anything of that sort, and it's very time consuming to flip through the book.
The challenges we ran into when we were coming up with our project was, at first, at the beginning of the year, we thought we were going to be making a ballistic briefcase, which was a bomb safety transportation box. But when we talked to Phil Hunt at Holston Ammunitions, he told us that if there was a problem with bomb transportation, they wouldn't transport bombs. So then we decided to do fish transportation, because we're the ballistic blob fish. But after a week or two, we just decided that wouldn't work, and then we came up with what we have now.
Our solution was to use a thing called the blob box that we invented, which uses modern technology that sends out a signal that only firefighters can pick up through their dashboard, which I do not know what it's called. But it sends out a signal that's what tells you if it's a hazardous material is dangerous, and it tells you the number and the stuff that's located inside the truck.
Yes, the black box will be made of very high-grade steel. It would hopefully be as safe as airplane black boxes. And we have a model that we built out of Legos. It would have similar proportions, but it might not be this exact size.
We talked to some people about this. We talked to Phil Hunt, a Holston Ammunition employee, and Ada Forbes, a firefighter captain.
And Chris from the UPS in Johnson City, Tennessee, near where we all live. And we also talked to the author of an article we found online called The Emergency Response Guidebook, which is this, not good enough, not safe enough, which talked about the inefficiency of the guidebook and problems that have happened with it in the past. In particular, a case in Texas in, I think, 2014, in which multiple firefighters and civilians assisting them died because the response guidebook had the protocol wrong.
And now we shall demonstrate our solution with a skit in 2 parts. Part 1 without our solution, and part 2 with our solution.
I'm a truck driver carrying these hazardous materials to their new home. I hope I don't crash. Oh no, I'm in a wreck. We're firemen here today.
Aha! I can hardly see through the smoke and fog, but I think it says 1, 2, 3, 4.
It says here it's not dangerous in the emergency guidebook.
Okay.
Now, part 2 with ballistic blob test.
I'm a truck driver carrying these new hazardous materials to their new home. I hope I don't crash. Good thing I downloaded the information about them into this box. Oh no, I'm in a wreck. We're firemen here today.
Aha! With my new ballistic blob scanner, I can see that inside the truck is 1, 2, 3, 5.
It says you're extremely dangerous.
Okay.
We're ready for questions.
All right. Well, first of all, if we had an award for theater, that would be excellent.
We should have won that if it was.
Yeah, that was excellent, guys. We really thought that was great, and I enjoyed it for sure. It's a very good demonstration of exactly what you guys are trying to accomplish. So I'm glad to see that. So I want to ask you, in all of your research that you guys did, all these people you talked to, everyone that you worked with, who do you think was the most helpful in that, and what did you learn in detail from that?
I think that it might have been either Bill Hunt from Wholesome Ammunitions or the guy we talked to. I think his name was Dr. Grabowskis, who wrote the article, and I will pass that question on to T-Rex. You expound on that.
Yes, so the man who wrote the article itself helped us a lot. It gave us an example to show how the guidebook was inefficient. But when we talked to him on a Zoom meeting, he told us a lot more. Like the UN also has a model of the guidebook, but it doesn't have any protocols on what to do, and it just has the chemicals. And our guidebook doesn't have enough protocols and has not very many chemicals.
Okay. So how did you guys, of all the things you could have picked, how did you guys settle on this?
So, the way we settled on this topic was because at the beginning of the year, we named our team the Ballistic Blobfish. And so ballistic is like weapons and stuff. So obviously, we can do hazardous material transport.
All right. Very cool. Let's see here. Going through my notes. So when you talk to other folks about this, right? So you obviously you guys have talked to a lot of folks. What are you guys using? Are you using your model to explain that to them, or what all are you using to explain your overall idea?
I think for the main part, these people are, professionals, so they already know what the current response is and how everything works. So basically, we just explained to them. We didn't have the project model when we talked to them. We made that afterwards, but we explained to them. We think they all understood. And I guess we can let Beck expound on that. You want to say something about what they thought of the project?
When we told them about the project, they said we were talking about transporting a bomb with like a wig that extinguishes the wig with touch of water. But when we talked to Phil Hunt, he said that would not work. So then we switched to fish transport, which we already talked about, but we didn't do that. So then we transferred on to hazardous material transport, which we all liked. So we chose that, and now we have all this stuff on hazardous transport.
All right.
Also about that, so after we talked to Phil Hunt, he gave us a version of the guidebook. So when we were coming home, I had the guidebook out, and when trucks passing by, I tried to see if we could find the placards and see if we could find. But by the time we had found them, which was like 5 minutes later, it was a long time. The truck was already long gone, and we were almost home. And that's how. And the next meeting, I proposed that to the team and told them about the idea, and they all liked that. Now we can fix that.
Very cool. So last question I have for you guys. How did you all decide on this style for your presentation? What made you think this was the effective way to present your idea?
Because it was super fun, and everybody really wanted to
And
play in the skit.
everyone also got to talk, and they also got to act, which was very fun.
And we had a lot of recommendations from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the skit
Cool.
explains a lot more details instead of just talking, because talking with no context isn't, people that are listening cannot understand. So if we provide it with a skit, they will be able to understand what's happening and how to fix it and all that other stuff.
Okay. I actually have one last question for you. Did everybody on the team get involved in terms of like doing the coding and getting involved with, the presentation, everybody contributing in some way, shape, or form, guys?
Oh,
Yes.
I think everybody programmed. Almost everyone built their own arm for their program, which we're going to show you in a minute. And so everybody was included in everything. We all contributed ideas to the skit. We all contributed ideas of how to help with the programming, how to get past stuff. And basically, if we hadn't had anyone here, we would not have been there. Like Beck was in California all of January, but we still got on Zoom calls with him and talked to him every now and then during the month. So we were able to include everybody in just about everything.
Yeah, I got to. They put the phone on the robot, so I got to ride the robot. So I got to understand what it's like to be a robot.
Very cool. Well, that's awesome, guys. Well, I'm going to actually, we're going to switch gears now, and we'll go to your robot design explanation, and I'm going to turn it over to Ethan. He'll be asking you questions about that after you do your design explanation.
Don't stand in front of your
Yeah, we need issue.
Okay, Beck, explain about the robot.
So this robot right here we built. So we have. I'm gonna walk up closer so you guys can see it. So we have a little system right here where we can change out stuff. The arms. So like there's like a little gear that connects to the other gears on the robot's arms. So like for different missions, like one we have for the truck mission, accidental avoidance. Different missions require different arms. So we built different arms to go on this one slot. So it's connected to one port on the robot, but we have all the missions programmed so it does the exact same port, with the exact same arms, different movements.
Okay, so this is our first arm. We attach it to the front of the robot, and we use it to help us push the switch for the helicopter mission.
This arm helps us deliver the package and also is just very cool, basically.
Sure.
This arm is used for the plane mission where you drop the package, and you can also take off the white part so that it can do the safety parking mission.
This arm I made to deliver the boxes to the circles on the board, so it just lifts it up when it wants to leave the boxes behind.
This arm is the smallest thing, and it's used to knock over the bridges, both bridges. It attaches to the side of the robot.
This arm is used for the crane mission. The curved design of it helps it from getting stuck on the crane, and it just makes everything more efficient and easier.
Any questions?
Yeah, for sure. Great job, guys. And I love the energy. It's making it very easy to follow along and engage. Good job on that front. So yeah, first question is, when you guys started the season and were like getting your first look at the table and trying to decide what missions to accomplish, how did you guys do that? How did you approach your mission strategy?
Whichever ones gave us the most points and were the easiest. The ones that had the highest point to work ratio.
And it was also a lot different because we end up switching robots halfway through getting to state, and we had to rewrite different programs, and the robot worked better, so we used it for different things.
We had two 83s, like two of the old 83s, like the ones from a few years ago, not the new Spike Prime. So we used that. We had one for testing, and then one for the competition before here. And then on this competition, we switched to the Spike Prime because it's more efficient and it's more better to run. And it also does not require a ton of batteries, because I remember last time we ran out a ton of batteries.
Gotcha. That's great. And so you guys talked about the work to point ratio, like what do you guys define as like work? Like what's like, give an example of something that's like really hard to complete and why?
Copying over the programs is one of the hardest challenges we faced.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just because we had so many different people, everyone programming. We had a bunch of different computers and different people programming on those. But as your question, it was mainly just like, you know, if there's one really close, like the plane mission where you just drive out, turn, put down the arm, put up the arm, and drive back, then that's pretty much a quick and easy one. Then if you also have ones like we have a mission that does half of the bridge and the crane, and they're right next to each other, and it can just do the half of the bridge on the way to the crane. So that's easy because the bridge is right there and you can just knock it right over.
Another challenge we faced was when we forgot to charge the robot and it was always dead. So what we did is we just found something else to do, like jump on a trampoline, play outside, do anything else while the robot was charging. And sometimes we wouldn't do the robot that day, we'd just work on like the project, something else, because this was earlier in the season. And then once the robot was charged, that day we'd work on the robot, and so on and so forth.
Gotcha. Okay, and so when you guys talked about switching to a different robot design during the year. So did you start with the robot that you had to begin with, EV3? Was that from a previous year or was that brand new this year?
We started with, we had two EV3s from like 5 or 10 years ago. We had previous teams, but our local competition we used the EV3, but at the end of that it was really bad and we didn't have very good movement with it because the motors were old and not reliable. And so we had some helpful donations from relatives who helped us get the Spike Prime, which came with some better light sensors and more powerful motors.
Yes, it was totally awesome that Rob and T-Rex's uncle bought the robot for us. And one of our coaches, Peter, bought the expansion, yes.
Or more Legos to build on.
That's awesome. And then I had a question on your guys' code. What do you guys think is your most innovative piece of code and why?
The make a block. That is just so important. You know, you can go down, you can get it says make your own block, you can type in a name on the block, and then it makes this big red block, and it just says define whatever the name is, and then you can write a big line of code and put that underneath the definition, and then if you want to put that into a program, you just have to get one little block that says, say you made a big line of code and named it like line follow, you can just get one little block that says line follow on it and stick it in your program. And so that was incredibly helpful.
Gotcha. And so out of like those just for like, or I guess back in my day we called them my blocks for EV3. But so out of those my blocks that you created, or like like those like blocks with subsets of code, what do you think is your most interesting one?
I would probably say our line follow program is very useful because on our old EV3 we did have a line follow, but now we after the local competition we got the new Spike Prime and developed our own line follow program, and
Almost every single mission we have uses a line follow. So
at the local competition, we relied off like a little thing that we made that you line up the robot with on one line. Sometimes we wouldn't line up correctly and the robot would go in different places. And it took us forever to find a working line follow for the E3, and that one didn't work because the sensors were too old and stuff was in lead lenses and didn't work. And so when we got the Spike Prime, we looked up a line follow that actually was made for the Spike Prime by an actual Lego. And it actually worked perfectly, and we used that.
We technically made our own Spike Prime. We kind of based. Well,
yeah,
I mean, we made our own.
We based it off some ideas, and then we made it. So for the interchangeable system, we made that ourselves. The base, we didn't. We just looked up instructions.
And the line follow.
And the line follow
conventions.
Okay, that's awesome. And
also the balls.
oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay, I have one last quick question before I run out of time on my Q&A here. What was your guys' testing process? So like when you designed a mission and the attachments for it started programming, like what was like the testing you had to do for it to be kind of like in quality or like competition ready?
Basically we just wrote a short line of code to get it to one place, tested it, if it didn't work, tweaked it until it did, wrote the next part to get it to the next place, just worked in increments and tried to get everything to work, and then once everything was put together and working pretty well, we just tweaked it more and made it go back to home and all that, so.
And then some missions, like for instance, the helicopter mission, you don't know how many rotations it take, so we calculated how many inches one rotation is. So we calculated that, we measured it. So we measured how far away the helicopter is to the home, and so, for instance, if it was 16, we'd do 2 rotations and it'd get there.
We also then realized that you can just say move forward for however many inches. And you don't
On the new Spike Prime. That's on the old one, yeah.
Yeah, the move forward a certain amount of inches was really helpful, I
Yes.
think, for everyone.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think that's all the questions I have.
Okay. Well, now we just have a few final questions for you guys, and then we'll get to feedback. So, can you guys tell me exactly, of all the things that you guys accomplished with this? Obviously, you guys have done a lot of work, you've worked on a lot of things. What are you guys most proud of?
Definitely the robot, I think.
The project.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Project.
project.
Yeah, project was the best.
And the best part in the project is the skit.
That's fun.
One of the things about the project that we really liked is that when we went to the local competition, almost everybody there had a drone-related transportation project that focused on how you could get the package to their house with a flying object.
That is what
We liked ours because it was so different and very unique.
Also,
Never
the
even
other
thought
reason
about
why we did not choose a drone part like they did is because drones are also not as reliable, and this technology's been around for 5 to 2 years. And we wanted to try something different, so we can make up our own creative minds, so we can develop more and become famous.
Yeah, our team vision is to graduate from Harvard with a PhD in everything.
It's a thing to go with, but really, we might actually.
No, I'm not going to Harvard if I go to college.
Yeah. So, yeah, because Harvard is like millions of miles away.
No, not that far, but it's not close.
Yeah. Alright.
Anything else?
Cool. Yeah, well, it's very clear you guys have, I've got one more question and then I'll turn it over to you for final questions there. It's very clear that there's a lot of strong personalities in this group, which I love. There's a lot of good, innovative folks here. So I'm curious, did you guys have any disagreements through the time that you worked on this? And if so, how did you guys resolve those?
The main 2 disagreements we had were team name and team logo. Basically, there were a few other options for team name, and we weren't sure which one we liked best, and then we decided, actually that was part of the reason we came up with the whole hazardous material transportation, because there were people that are like, hey, yeah, we'll agree to do the ballistic blobfish if we do hazardous material, because we like that and it makes sense. So we were like, yeah, it works for us. So we did that. And then for team logo, there were a couple other options we had, but basically we just went for the one the simplest and, most straightforward. I mean, this kind of gives off the idea of what we're trying to get across.
And also the one that would cost less, the least to be made. Because this shirt right here is only 2 colors.
One color.
One color
One
and a
print
base
color.
color. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I just had mind blank. I forgot what I was going to say.
I know something I want to say.
What?
I remember once we thought all of our programs got deleted off one laptop, so now we learned from that, and we have 2 USB drives on a lanyard that have all the programs on them. So even if we lost our computer, we could plug it into a random computer, load up the Spike Prime program, boom, bada boom, program's right there.
Yeah, I remembered what I was going to say.
What?
It's like Toby said last presentation, if we had a lot of disagreements, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So we just
Yeah, we really didn't have any major disagreements about much of anything.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
a lot of us met each other outside of Lego League. Like, for instance, I met T-Rex and Rob at like a little thing that they did in the winter, like the summer during COVID. And I met Karsten at Steel Creek Park. Kyle and Pierce I haven't met, but I met them through Lego League. But everyone else except for them, I have known. I also knew Toby from swim team.
Cool. So you guys have known each other for a while and really involved in a lot of things. But I have a question for like each of you here. What are some ways that you guys display the core values outside of FLL?
That's a good question.
Well, like Beck said, he met Toby through swim team, and me and Rob are brothers. We also did swim team
With us.
with Beck and Toby. Yes, so there was
And
a lot
also
of
with older brothers.
yes, there was a lot of cooperation needed in that.
I mean, always you want to try to be a good example to everyone and get everyone to respect you. So, yeah.
And I think Carson does lacrosse. With
Yes.
Pierce. Callan Pierce.
Yes, basically we're all homeschooled, we're all Christians, so we've been brought up to show the core values just in regular life anyway.
Okay. Well, with that, we're going to move to our feedback session because we're about to run out of time. So I want to make sure we have enough time to give you guys any feedback that we have. I will start I'll be brief on mine because I think you guys have probably heard this more than once. I think for the innovation side of your presentation, that was excellent skit. I love the skit. I thought that was a great thing to do. It definitely helped explain what you guys are trying to show off and do. I love the thought process that you guys had, and that you look for a real world problem that's out there, something different, something innovative, and I really did like that a lot. I would say that, this is a really impressive idea. I think it's very smart and very well thought out, and that would be my comments for the innovation presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and from the robot side, you guys clearly are very well versed in code. You guys are able to talk about it very well. And use the my blocks, the line following, that's awesome. So you're definitely up to charts on that one. I will say, just more like a general thing, not even necessarily like related to robot. I will say, like, when you're in the coding session and everything, I've got like so much good information. We got a lot of excitement. With that, sometimes you gotta be careful about how much information you get. So I guess in the future, my feedback would be make sure you're getting across what you want to when you're answering questions, but also make sure you're getting concise, right? Because if sometimes you may get more information on one topic and you may not be able to get to information on other topics too. So just like that.
I would echo that as well. Just work on being in sync and concise, and that would be great. But with that, guys, we have ended our time. We want to get you guys out to the pit and able to do what you need to do there. So good luck today, both of us.
Yeah.
Definitely are wishing you good luck. Great job in your judging session, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.